Hey cats, it's your midsole man, EDDBUD here. I've got another episode of Running Shoe Yay or Nay for you. This is the show where I tell you whether I'm going to pick up any forthcoming or soon to be released running shoes for review on the channel. Let's get to it. Thanks for tuning in, people. It is always appreciated. Help the channel out by hitting that subscribe button, but also clicking the bell below for notifications when I launch the new videos for you. It helps us out a bunch too if you give this video a thumbs up, like, and share it with your running buddies. Also give us a super thanks down below if you've got a particular question or you want to help the channel out on an ad hoc basis. Running shoe yay or nay today, 4 new or forthcoming, soon to be released shoes. Whether I'm going to pick them up for the channel. I'm not saying whether these shoes are fantastic or they're terrible or not. I wouldn't know unless I got them on foot. But I have some reasons why I may or may not be picking them up for the channel. Shoe number 1. First is a Puma DV8 Nitro 2. I think it's been released over in the EU with very little fanfare whatsoever. Puma have just dropped it and people didn't expect it at all. It appears to feature quite an update in terms of a dual foam midsole. There appears to be a top layer of the lighter and more compressive Nitro Elite midsole formula on top of a lower level of the original Nitro stuff, complete with the carbon power plate. Sandwiched between the bread, this does elevate the Puma DV8 Nitro 2 a little higher perhaps than the Speed 3 or the Zoom Fly 5. There's quite the upper update here as well. I remember the original version was a little bit denser, I suppose. It wasn't quite as flexible as I would have hoped. It looks here like we've got a thinner mesh holding it all together. There's a slightly different outsole pattern, but don't fret, it's still Puma grip. So no need to worry. A very interesting forward-thinking revision from Puma here, one which I'll be very keen to test out in the very near future when it drops here in the UK. So a definite yay from me on the Puma DV8 Nitro 2. I would expect some small revisions in their heel, perhaps that was a bit of an issue for some people that tried the shoe out early on. Shoe 2. Next up is a max cushioned monolith. This is the ASICS Superblast, which seems to be a mixture of Flight Foam Turbo with a thin lower section of Flight Foam Blast Plus. Very interesting this. So you've got the super squashy, very light foam and lots of it, then a very thin layer of Flight Foam Blast Plus on the bottom, perhaps to stop early breakdown of that much more fragile foam above. Much like how we saw the implementation in the Nimbus 24, there's different foam formulas across the whole of the ASICS shoe line right now. They really have updated and refreshed the whole lot. I would imagine this shoe does confirm rumours that the Nova Blast may be discontinued after the 3rd version. I certainly think this one will be taking the place of the shoe that people want for a long run, maximally cushioned long range shoe. One big thing the brands are doing is rearranging their models into more easily recognisable categories with clearer intentions of use for each model. The Superblast does appear to be a response by ASICS to the Adidas Prime X and perhaps the Bondi model from HOKA, and it looks to take maximum advantage of that lovely cushioned Flight Foam Blast material. No word on the price or the actual stack. I would imagine some of that foam's got to cut round the back of the foot, surely. Certainly does look like an exciting offering from ASICS. Pretty much everything does these days, actually. A very innovative, forward-thinking company. It's a yay for me for the ASICS Superblast whenever it releases. It could be months away yet. Shoe 3. More max cushioned madness here in the HOKA Bondi 8. Now, Bondi isn't one I've tried out before. I haven't tried a HOKA shoe out for some time, in fact. I think the last one was probably the Mach 4. Really wasn't bowled over by that one, especially the upper. Just don't seem to work all that well for me, HOKA uppers. Just seem massive on my foot. Is a max cushion beast here though, with a whole bundle of midsole to facilitate some long range efforts, or perhaps some easy, shorter recovery runs. This HOKA shoe embraces that very popular recycled and sustainable vibe, using such materials in the tongue and the upper. There's a new softer EVA formula in the midsole. They reckon it's 30% softer than before. I never really had a problem with the softness of HOKA midsoles. I'm not sure that was the issue really. You got the standard HOKA rocker in the mid to forefoot and a wider full contact outsole with lots of traction potential. Lots of rubber there. I bet when you open the box, the whole room's gonna smell of it. Only a 4mm drop here and around 10.8 ounces in the sample size. So I think that's about 300 odd grams. I'm not really that worried about the weight of a training shoe really. When it comes to race shoes, that's when I kind of care. Though it has to be remembered that the Primex in my size was just over 300 grams, so this one's going to be quite a bit more hefty than the Adidas shoe. Haven't tried a Hoka in a while, so it would be nice to give this a whirl. Perhaps once I've got some more miles into the Invincible run Flyknit 2 from Nike. I think I'm on about 50-60 miles or something on that one, so I'll burn a few miles into that, and then maybe after that I will pick up the HOKA Bondi 8. So it's a yay on the HOKA Bondi 8, but in a few weeks time. I really want to get one of those nice orangey colorways. It looks really fun. The last one up today, shoe number 4, is the Flow Velocity Elite from Under Armour. Under Armour are on the case finally with a super shoe for us all to test out. The Flow Velocity Elite has a 10mm drop and only 7.5 ounces or 212 grams in the standard sample size. Sounds like Under Armour have worked through a number of prototypes to get to this position. Got a full length carbon plate there. I mean, you'd expect that for a race shoe these days, wouldn't you? Can you imagine if someone released one that didn't have a carbon plate? That would freak people out. They'd just be like this. What? And we have a new Warp 2.0 upper material and design here. Very nice profile, does remind me of the Velocity Wind. It certainly looks as breathable as a string vest on Weymouth Beach, and the supercritical foam in the midsole certainly seems to be closer to what we'd expect from a P-back space shoe. I'm not saying it is P-backs, hard to say here, but it's definitely not the same stuff that we've seen in the Flow Velocity Wind. Maybe we've got a bottom layer of that there. Is it a dual layer? I'm not too sure. Certainly going by the weight, it does seem to be very light, so it could be that the whole midsole is made up of that supercritical formula. Good to see Under Armour pushing the boundaries here, though it appears this one is some way off yet from actually hitting retail. It's a preliminary yay for the Under Armour Flow Velocity Elite. Very exciting looking shoe that, and a whole bunch of shoes today on the yay or nay that I'm really keen to test out. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the 4 shoes today down in the comments. Musical interlude today comes from Africa Bambaataa and the Soul Sonic Force with Planet Rock. When I was a young lad, I used to really enjoy 80s hip-hop. It was my favourite thing. It's what got me into listening to music. Sitting there on a Sunday afternoon, recording the charts onto tape and then editing the tape so that I cut out all the bits that had speaking. Didn't want any speaking, just wanted the music. That led me on to actually playing music in my bedroom with a speaker in the kitchen so that my mum had to listen to all the music. Kind of like a radio station, I suppose. We used to have charts on there, the latest Sinclair Spectrum releases, and I definitely remember playing Planet Rock by Africa Bambaataa. I think it was round about that time when my mum used to put a dishcloth over the speaker. The famous beats here in the track, everybody knows this one. Does sound slightly space age, you can imagine Mr. Spock grooving to this one. Really energetic vocal deliveries on this one. Also some really weird kind of effects they've put onto some of the sounds and some of the vocals. It almost sounds like a flanging type effect that they've put on there, sort of like a delay as well. There's some phasing going on. It really is quite interesting. I like these old hip-hop tracks because the whole mix wasn't saturated with all sorts of sounds and reverb here and there. Just nice and dry, and you could actually pick out all the words and the lyrics. Certainly a really innovative piece of music, Planet Rock by Africa Bambaataa and the Soul Sonic Force. Okay guys, time for me to get my editing cap on. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications. Also help us out by giving this video a thumbs up like and sharing it with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you. Hey guys, it's about 8:45 in the morning on a Sunday. Out for some miles, gonna see how I fare. It's really warm, a lot warmer than I anticipated it being, and the legs are super tired, so I'm not the one to keep going out, go further if I'm not feeling like it. I want to enjoy my day, And yeah, if I go too far on this heat, it's going to be a recipe for disaster. So keeping it nice and easy, just rolling along. There's about 2.5 miles in, and I'm absolutely drenched. I'm barely even out of first gear already. It's going to be a tough day today. There's a nice bit of breeze at the moment, but bear in mind it's still 20 degrees now. So by the time it gets to 2 or 3 in the afternoon, it is going to be absolutely cooking. Oh, up to the summit. I don't know what that road is called, but it's horrible. It's a lot of elevation, but just trying to keep it easy. At least I'll stay in an aerobic sort of effort. Oh man. Speeds are feeling nice though, nice and bouncy. I needed that. A gig last night, you know, a couple hours of hard effort, hauling the gear around, travelling and all that sort of stuff. It was a good like hour and 15, hour and 20 to get over to the gig. So on days like today, just gotta be responsible, I suppose, with it all, rather than going out and doing yourself some damage. So you know what I said about taking it easy? I can't resist this hill climb here. I'll try and show you. It's a really nice, considerable steep hill. So I've been trying a few harder efforts up here and then easy walk jogs back to the bottom. Gonna do one more and then go and head home, I think. Yeah, that'll do on those. 4 is enough. I'm absolutely cooked already. So dry out here. All the fields are looking pretty brown, pretty dried up, as am I actually. It's definitely a good idea to go out earlier. I certainly won't be feeling like it later. Good to do a few hill climbs there. It certainly seems to have helped in recent races. Not that there was much elevation on my recent efforts, but better than nothing. Something I've always neglected. So it's good to try and, you know, improve some areas while keeping the core pretty decent. So I could jump into that right now. That'd be great. So 7 miles, about 8 minutes 30 a mile. I did what I said I was going to do, aside from the hill climbs. But it is absolutely cooking now. I think Monday's going to be the worst here in the UK. I reckon it's going up to about 35°C, that is really warm. I think as high temps go, I think that's going to be some sort of new record, or there might be a new record somewhere in the UK. And then Tuesday there's some rain, and Wednesday there's some rain, so I'll be quite looking forward to that. Nice bit of rain, it's good for the garden.